Guys, we have a new pandemic in today's world. And it ain't no silent virus like in 2020 and 2021 when we had that COVID madness. We got a new pandemic now, my friends. And the pandemic is distrust. That's the pandemic. There's no loyalty anymore in this world. In the Western world, that's for sure. The East is still different. In the Eastern world, they maintain their conservative views. They haven't moved as far and as liberal and as free as the Western world has. The Western world usually led by America. And it's usually it's a particular state, it's California, which drives all these progressive ideologies, if you like. And unfortunately, what's happening now is, and I hear this story after story, time after time, when I read the comments, when I talk to friends about their situation, when I hear about family friends and what's going on and the divorces. And I'm not blaming anyone in particular, right? I'm not blaming men and I'm not blaming women. The problem is on either side, okay? Problem is both genders have become disloyal and untrustworthy. And those are two horrific ideologies, horrific issues for society, okay? More and more kids will be left with single parents. More and more kids will not have a masculine and feminine figure in the house to I think it's vitally important to be brought up in a masculine and feminine household, to have both in your life, one to teach you hard work and one to teach you courage and bravery, and the other side here, femininity, to teach you care, emotional intelligence, kindness, affection towards others, compassion towards others. Right, feminine energy is such a beautiful part of nature. There's compassion, and all these men over the past thousands of years have raped and pillaged. Perhaps if we had more women in leadership positions at the time, there wouldn't have been as many deaths. Perhaps. I'm just saying that's a potential theory. So sadly, you're going to see more divorces. You're going to see less people commit to each other, as you're seeing at the moment. And the issue is coming from both sides, and this is why it's happening. One, options. A plethora of options. You pick up your phone, you swipe on Tinder, Bumble, and Hinge, you meet someone new, you go get a bit of sex, no problem. If this one doesn't work, I'll try the next one. That's the first thing. The second thing is the general movement and direction that society is moving in. And what that produces is stuff like reality TV programs, stuff like Temptation Island, and this sort of shit, right? These shitty TV shows will corrupt people's minds without them really thinking of it. People are like, oh, just relax, man, it's just a bit of entertainment. No, you're not smart enough to realize that that's just a bit of entertainment. That's going to eat up your mind and make you think that it's fine to go on an island and be tempted by 10 different guys and to leave your guy back home and, oh, let's test her loyalty. All of this shit in society is actually rather toxic to relationships and toxic to people's minds. You cannot do that to people because they are just not smart and strong enough to maintain their own opinions and to realize, hey, wait a minute, this is going a little bit too far. So, and also, look, I'm not going to keep bringing it up, but feminism is definitely a problem for this sort of stuff. Because feminism says that you should be independent and that you shouldn't take any shit. And if something's not right, you should stand up for yourself. And I do agree with those terms, by the way. Like, I absolutely agree with equal pay. And I agree that women should not be abused at home. Like domestic violence and all these horrible things that happened over the past were really horrific towards women. And I love and support beautiful women and warm and kind women who are really feminine. I think feminine women is the most powerful, beautiful force in our world, right? So please don't ever mistake my opinions and my thought process. I talk about the female nature, Okay, this channel really at the moment focuses on female nature and understanding that and using that to your advantage, understanding how women operate so you can operate even better in a relationship, in an environment, so you can obtain a beautiful woman. Okay, that's the point of this channel. That's the point of the last 2 weeks of videos that I've done. So, reality TV, society, feminism, dating apps, disloyalty, distrust. Unfortunately, that's what's created all of it. And another thing is people moving further and further away from religion. Now, I never used to be religious, but now I'm actually becoming more religious because I've realized that the religion actually brings something very positive to the world. And loyalty and trust is one of the huge things in religions. And so now that people are veering further and further away from religion and just sort of living a free life based on whatever they feel, then there's no morals left. And no morals and ethics is a real problem. Now, let me tell you, I lived in Miami Beach for a year. I mean, I've been going to Miami for 8 years and spending shit tons of money on parties and bottles of vodka and dancing around like a monkey. And I absolutely enjoyed it, by the way. Like, I had a great time in Miami and I met some stunning girls and I had a great time. And, you know, I was on boats and blah, 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 whatever you'll see on my Instagram or stories and all this kind of madness. But I have to say, you know, there's just no, there's no soul or God in Miami. It feels quite soulless. So there's no like morality. You know, you can just do what you want. A girl can sleep with 10 guys in 2 nights and whatever. No one's going to say anything to her. So that level of freedom, no morality, no rules, you know, no God telling you it's not the right thing to do, no one judging you about that, I think is actually a bad thing, because it now means, oh, go be free to do whatever you want. It means a guy can go and have an orgy and a guy can go and sleep with 10 girls in 2 nights. And I'm saying, you know, it's bad either side, the woman and the man. Okay, it's bad either side. So we're really veering towards a very disloyal society. It's horrific. And the same thing even happens intergenderly as well. Like, there's less loyalty between men and women because people are trying to step on top of each other to get to the higher heights of this world. So look, it's quite a sad state of affairs, to be honest. I'm still hopeful that there are good people in this world. I have beautiful people in my life. I have very loyal, beautiful people in my life. But I worry about the rest of you, and I worry about society in general. And I don't want to see people's relationships crumble, and I'm seeing too much of that. I'm seeing friends who are having devastating relationships, who are divorcing now, and I'm seeing kids stuck between 2 sets of parents. That's not good for kids, my friends. That's not good for kids. I don't also personally think kids should be raised by 2 women or 2 men. However, if there is a masculine and a feminine figure in the relationship, and if it's 2 women and 2 men, and one of them's masculine and one of them's feminine, and they can actually operate in that sense, then it is still fine for the child to be raised in that way. I do believe that. However, I am also conservative, and I do believe it should be a man and a woman, masculine and feminine energy, looking after the child and providing both sets of energy to the child. I'm all for this progressive stuff, but I just think we've just gone way too far. We've just gone too far in this world. Our relationships have become so fickle. People will just drop you and stab you in the back at the skin of a hat. It's absurd what's happened in this Western world, I tell you. Like I said, the East is different. You know, if you go to India, and my friends just came back from Japan, and you go to Southeast Asia, and you go to the Middle East, you know, there is still some level of loyalty left in these places. People are still religious. People still believe in masculine, feminine roles and gender roles. And, divorcing is taboo. And that's kind of, we still want that in society. At least we want a balance of the Eastern and the Western mentality. But you go too far in one direction and you end up with a mess. And that's what we have now. So I worry about your relationships. I worry about the loyalty that people show towards each other, even within intergender dynamics. And so what can you do about that? Well, you have to be extremely sharp and intuitive to work out what people are like. And you need to be extremely careful and watch their actions, not what they say. Observe people's actions, observe what they watch, what they do. Observe how they operate. And observe their past. Because your past is a great indicator of your future, and anyone says otherwise is clearly stupid. Your past and your past sexual behaviors is a CV of how you operated in the past. There are things I'm not proud of in my past, and I plan to and I can never change them, but I'm trying to evolve and learn from them. So sad state of affairs really in terms of loyalty and disloyalty in this modern world. And I hope that if you're in a relationship that you can communicate and stay loyal to your woman and to your man. Please hold it up for the rest of us, because most of society is struggling with this concept, and it will get worse and worse and worse. You'll see more divorces, more breakups, and more stabbings in the back for people to just get higher and to keep climbing that social ladder. And because people are generally pretty selfish and only interested in themselves and not making relationships work, but just seeing how them themselves can flourish and step over others to gain interest. And that's pretty sad, because religion teaches us to help each other and to put out a helping hand. And when you think that way, it teaches us to sacrifice in relationships and to care about the other person and to do things for the other person. And that it's a two-way mutual beneficial thing. Whatever happened to the days where divorce was taboo and divorce was, frowned upon, and you should go to therapy and try and work things out in your relationship, rather than, oh, I'm done, I divorce you, give me half your shit, see you later. Or a guy saying, oh, I'm divorcing you, I'm tired of you, I want to go sleep with other women. Yeah, not ideal, is it? Let me know what you think in the comments about this modern world, and whether you think that I have a point, or whether you actually think that people still are as loyal and as trustworthy as they've always been. I'd be really intrigued to see if you have that viewpoint. I mean, I'd call you slightly delusional, but I'd be intrigued as to why you'd make those arguments. I'd love to hear it in the comments. Please like and share with someone who needs to hear this. On this channel, we are trying to learn more about human nature in order to study it, in order to learn it, so that we can operate better within the world and have better relationships and have more flourishing relationships. And ultimately, what I believe in is masculinity at its core is satisfaction, a man getting the things that he wants, sharing, loving, being a great leader, and living a satisfactory, happy life. That's the life that I live, and that's the life I want you to live. Take care for now.